This is the Seven Figure Agency Podcast. Discover the strategies and techniques to grow a highly successful and profitable digital marketing agency with your host, Josh Nelson.
We are now part of our Agency Success interview series where we're interviewing highly successful digital marketing agencies from across the country on how they've grown and scaled their agencies. And I'm really excited to welcome back to the show for the second time, Will Hanke. We just celebrated his agency crossing the seven-figure mark, and I'm so excited to have you guys hear his story and kind of how he's grown, how he's scaled, how he's landing clients, delivering results, retaining. So, Will, congratulations, and thanks so much for being on here.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. I'm super excited about it.
So, for the sake of people that don't know, tell us a little bit about your agency. You know, what niche you're in, what kind of clients you serve, et cetera.
Sure. So I actually started my agency in 1997 is when I bought my business license and started building websites, handing them off to people, having absolutely no idea what was going on after that, just giving it to them. And then around 2017 or so, stumbled across you and decided to start to niche down the legacy agency, just leave it as it is, and started to niche down. I had a couple clients that were successful, that we were successful with in the window treatment area, which is blind, shade, shutters, those types of things. Not necessarily something I'm passionate about, but it was a kind of like a blue ocean. It was something that really nobody was doing. We knew how to do it, and so that's how we picked our niche. Was that we saw an opportunity and maybe took the long road to success, but we got on the road and we kept going.
So now you've got, seven-figure agency serving that particular niche, the window treatment space, which I remember when you said the niche, it was kind of off the radar, kind of like, I guess there's a high transaction value there. It might be hard to target them, but you have broken through and now you've got some great momentum. Talk to us a little bit about how you landed the first handful of clients in that space. You had this generalist agency, you decided, okay, I'm going to target window treatment companies. But it wasn't easy to get the first seedling of clients. Talk to us about how you got those first handful.
Yeah, I think one of the lucky things for me was I had the legacy agency. So because of that, we actually built a page on our legacy website specifically for window treatment marketing and window treatment SEO. And then we used that authority of the site that I had for all those years and then started 301 to redirecting that authority to our new website. So we were lucky enough to rank quickly and get some clients just purely by organic rankings, and that was a great kind of a little trick that we used to really kind of boost everything up. Use the authority we already had. So most of our first clients came from that way. We may have been reaching out to them. We joined the association nearly right away after joining Seven Figures. And we started, talking with some of the people in there. Maybe we scraped the list of the association and reached out to them. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe. But anyway, we had a list that we started reaching out to. We already ranked well because of the legacy agency that we had, and they, we signed up 2 or 3 clients. I'd say within the first 3 or 4 months of launching, which was incredible. I was like, wow, I'm on a huge thing here. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. We're going to be at 7 figures in a year, so a little bit of messing with my head there because that's not what happened. But right out of the gate, using the legacy agency and that authority really helped us.
Awesome. So you kind of chose the niche. Just for clarity, so it was Red Canoe Media, right? It was the original general agency. You had that website, you had that brand, you had reviews for it. And this is something people struggle with. They're like, okay, I want to shift from my generalist agency to the niche agency. Do I set up a new website? Do I set up a new brand? In your case, you set up Red Canoe Media / window, window treatment companies, for instance. And that was a page that you got to rank organically. And some of these companies in searching for SEO for window treatment companies and blinds wound up on your website and becoming clients.
Exactly what happened. They would reach out to Red Canoe Media. We would switch them over to Window Treatment Marketing Pros as all the communication coming to them. And nobody even asked what happened with that little shift there. But that using that authority was huge for us.
Yeah, they don't care at the end of the day. A lot of they think it's a marketing division of the company. It really doesn't make that big a difference. So you joined the association, you got the list, you started doing some cold outreach. You had this brief moment of, oh man, we're going to crush it. Like it's just going to be off to the races, but you kind of hit a wall at some level and got stuck. Like what is it that's working today? If you think about, man, we've got this 7-figure business and it's growing even faster than ever right now. Like what was it that helped to make that breakthrough, and where are the clients coming from right now?
Yeah, so I've always been a fan of the omnipresence method of doing things and just being everywhere. And if somebody gets into my world, they're going to have a hard time getting out. They're going to be hit from multiple angles. I've always done webinars. I was doing webinars back in my legacy days. Well over 10 years I've been doing webinars, and they're very consistent. They're always profitable at the end of the day. We put every webinar up on our website, and we call them training or workshops instead of webinars, just to maybe lower that level of technical that people have with that word webinar. So we call them workshops. But I would say that's probably one of the biggest things that we do now that really reaches out to people, shows my expertise in a very non-combative way. There's no sales involved or anything like that. I'm just shoving value in front of them. And we do that across all our channels. We've got, top 81 window treatment keywords. You can download that. I've got my book. You can have a copy of my book. So all of these things that you can get from us we're just leading with value. And I've always been that way. And I think it's a fantastic, maybe a little bit passive way of doing sales, but it's worked great for us.
So for you, the positioning play has been the thing. You didn't love the cold outreach and the chase mode. It took a while to get the positioning to a place where people did recognize you in the niche. But now that you have it, because you've done the webinars, because you've published the book, because you're really active in the association, people are starting to look to you as the expert and come to you pre-positioned to buy.
Absolutely. And the fact that we had all these different pieces of value that they could see, that helped us with JVs. So getting in front of people that we saw had the same audience. So the people that run the convention for the industry. There's a buyer's network specifically for window treatments. So reaching out to them people and showing that we've already got all these assets that we want to help your audience with, that really gave us kind of a leg up as well.
So good, so good. So one thing you said there that I think I hope everybody heard was the distinction between a webinar and a workshop. Webinar has this technical sound to it, and it's also has like a salesy feel to it. It's like, oh, I'm going to sit on a webinar and they're going to try and pitch me this thing. You call it a workshop, and it's like, oh, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to learn something, I'm going to walk away with notes, and it'll be productive use of my time. I like the languaging of that.
Yeah, definitely. And then after that webinar, we make sure to send everybody out not only the replay, but some of the resources we mentioned on the webinar as well. So again, we're loading them up with value, and there's always somebody that calls and says, "Can you just do this for us?"
Love that. So good. Again, it's a little bit of a long journey for you, but you've done a great job with it.
Yeah.
Building omnipresence in your niche. Right, regardless of what niche you're in, as you're listening or watching, there's a sphere of people, and if you can get them to get on your landing page, get into your pixel, and you can constantly be dripping value through webinars, through podcasts, through value-added content, you become everywhere they look, and that's what Will has done so well, which has created this accelerated growth within the business. Absolutely,
it's hard to get out of our web once you're in it. And even if you're in it, you're just getting value all the time. So there's not a lot of reason to unsubscribe even.
So there's a question here. They're asking your workshops. I know you load them up everywhere. Where would someone go if they wanted to peep your workshops?
Yeah, wtmarketingpros.com/training. We put all 11 webinars out there that we do. And of course, we pretty much recycle the same 11 year over year. And then we just replace that month. So I just did one this week. So that was on pay-per-click. So we'll replace that, probably tomorrow with this year's version of the same thing. And that way they're always up to date, but all the training's out there. And that leads to calls, where they're kind of warm. They're like, hey, I watched all your trainings. I listened to your podcast. How do we get signed up with you? So, they're pre-positioned. They already know me, even though I don't know them. They feel like they know me, and leading with all that value, it becomes a pretty easy sales call to have.
Love it. Love it. So we talked a little bit about how you're getting clients and kind of you've really got this attractive model where clients come to you pre-positioned to buy. Talk to us a little bit about your program. Like, what is it that a window treatment company buys from you? How do you package that? How do you kind of offer that to the marketplace?
Sure. So we used to have 3 programs. One was $697 a month, and we had a $1,500 a month and a $3,000 a month. What we found is the cheaper the package, the worse the clients. And the more
that's a writer downer, everybody.
Yeah, the more of a pain in the butt they were. So we just decided let's just go high end, or in my world, $1,500, $3,000 a month is high end for a lot of these companies. So we just went with those 2 programs. The $1,500 program is SEO, pay-per-click maintenance, all the normal stuff. We do not do social media. So we have that as an add-on because we really think that social is not the place that you're going to get the best ROI on. So right out of the gate, we discourage our clients from doing that. Let's get your SEO going. Let's get your paid ads. Let's get leads. Let's get your phone ringing. Then we can talk about brand exposure and things like social media and some of these other outreaches. The $3,000 a month program is everything in the lower one, just amped up, more content. We've got a couple extra add-on things that we do. We've got a tool called Email Boomerang, which basically reverse engineers who the visitor is to the website, sends them a thank you message. Just say, hey, thanks for visiting our website. Here's a little bit about our business. And this is something we do for our clients. So these small little extra outreaches on other platforms work really well. Another one that I know a lot of the guys in 7-figure are doing now is the postcard, which is the same thing. Somebody visits your site, they look around, but they don't engage with your site. Then 2 or 3 days later, a postcard shows up in the mail from that company. Always gets an interest, and they're not expensive. So you get one good lead out of that in the 30 days. It more than pays for the postcard, all the postcards that you sent out that month.
I love it. Do you cover the cost, or is it kind of like this is included in the program and you're going to pay the usage on whatever postcards are mailed out? Is that how it's structured?
Yeah, we charge extra. So that's an add-on service, but it's only like, $200 a month, something like that. And I think my cost is about 100, maybe, 90, somewhere around there. So we make a little bit off of it, but at the end of the day, we're really just after getting those additional leads for our clients. So we'll put a custom QR code that goes to a specific landing page, specifically mentioning the postcard. Thanks for shooting the QR code on our postcard. It has a call tracking number on it, so the clients can see that it's actually creating an ROI.
I love it. And do you house that QR code in high level, or is that some other like proprietary system you use to track that?
Yep, it goes straight to a high level landing page or a funnel.
So good. So you're driving traffic to them from organic and paid. You're putting retargeting in place, and you're also postcard retargeting, which means, hey, you came to the site, you got this postcard, here's a QR code, and you're finding people redeem that. It's not like something sexy that you can tell a prospect, but it actually is something that gets redeemed and generates conversions.
Oh yeah, for sure. The average conversion in our industry is somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000. So if they just get one of those in that 30 days of sending out postcards, it was highly profitable for them.
Love it. And I love the fact you've kind of tied in direct mail on the back end. Most digital marketing agencies, I just want to do the ads, or I just want to do the pay-per-click, where you're thinking, how do we generate more sales for this company? Right. And if direct mail is part of that play, why not, right? Because if you can make it rain for the client, they're going to stick around. They're going to be happy.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
So you're really now $1,500 to $3,000 as your 2 programs that you offer. You kind of sunsetted the cheaper program. I said that was a writer downer because I hope everybody heard that. Usually we want to sell everybody and we want to have something for the cheap client. That cheap client is who's going to bankrupt you, right? That cheap client is the one you're going to wind up chasing. You're going to question yourself. You're going to want to throw in the towel. So just decide to deal with the higher end of the market. They'll pay more. They'll stay longer. They won't be as frustrating for you as a company. I think that sounds like that's the decision you've made in your agency.
Yeah, for sure. I know that you just interviewed Mandeep not too long ago, and I think he's the one that came up with the PETA score, pain in the ass score. So those lower end clients, they had that high PETA score, and they weren't worth it. You get the $3,000 a month clients, and they just send you the money every month. You keep them apprised as to what you're doing, and that's pretty much it.
So good. So we talked a little bit about the niche. We talked about how you chose it, how you landed your clients, what the program package looks like. You had this phase in your agency where you were a generalist and you were kind of stuck there for a long, long time. And then at some point you chose a niche and you had a bump up, but then you also hit a plateau where you were in the niche, but you were stuck for a while. Yeah. And now over the last year or so, you've had this new ascent. If you had to think about three things that shifted that helped to make the acceleration happen, what would those be for that agency owner that maybe is at 30 or 40 or 50 and they're like, why am I not going to the next level?
Sure. I mentioned these at my acceptance speech, if you could hear through the sobbing. But I definitely JVs. JVs is one thing, getting on stage. Josh, stage time is money time. So getting into those conventions and being able to teach some sort of a class has been huge. The second one is the omnipresence. I think I mentioned that, just being everywhere and loading people up with value. And then the third one, which is probably the biggest one of all, was mindset. I had a mindset, especially after getting a couple clients, and then it might be 6 months of no new clients, right? That was tough to swallow. And just to keep pressing forward, knowing it's going to happen. That was tough. And there was a time when I just thought, you know what, 25K is probably the best we're going to do. And I had convinced myself that. And because I convinced myself that, I stayed there. So if I got up to 30, I'd probably screw something up so that I would get back to 25. I'd lose a client on purpose. Even though it's just mentally you're doing it, you don't even realize that you're self-sabotaging, but you do that if that's the mindset. And there was a coach that told me, I just want you to get to 40,000. And I was like, you're crazy. That's not even a real number. That's not a thing that I do. And because he said that, I decided I need to rewire myself. I need to start looking into mindset and understanding that there's people doing this. So why can't I be one of them? And really just rewiring my mind that 7 figures is just a thing. And once I get there, there's another one. There's going to be, multiple 7 figures. But that definitely takes a while. And if your upbringing was always around scarcity, that's hard to reprogram yourself. It really is tough.
I think it's a powerful share. And you should question yourself. Like, are you setting limits without even realizing it? Is this glass ceiling over your head? Because your mindset is, I don't deserve more than 50K, or 50K is enough. 50K a month in my business is enough. And if you've got that self-limiting thought, you're never going to go to the next level. And so, great book. I'm not sure if you read this, Will, but Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, one of the best books on changing your mental programming about, what your limits are and what's available. And the other thing would be get around a peer group that's well beyond 7 figures, and it will just change the lens at which you look at opportunities.
Absolutely. And taking advantage of it. There's a lot of people that are maybe in these kinds of groups that don't take advantage of the people that are at 7 or even more figures. And a lot of these guys, they're more than willing to share with you. So take advantage of that. Use that authority. What is the saying? You're like the 5 people around you, or something like that. And so put yourself around the people that are where you want to be. That will help you get there, just from hearing the conversations differently, how they think, those sorts of things. And you can do it. Absolutely.
So good. I think a lot of people come to the 7-figure agency and come through our program, typically, being good at the sales stuff and being good, like really having an aggressive mindset, but struggling with the delivery. Like they just don't know what to do or how to do it. In your case, you were already extremely good on the delivery. It was just confidence in yourself and in your sales abilities, really, that made I think a lot of the difference in your growth.
100%. I did not like sales. And again, I would tell myself I'm not good at sales. So just telling myself that, I would fulfill that prophecy. So, the other option is to hire somebody. I didn't want to hire somebody because I was only making 20, 30 grand. I don't have that ability to really hire somebody to do that. I want to make it succeed on my own. So teaching myself sales, staying at it, buying books on sales, listening to podcasts, watching YouTubes, all these things to really just slowly teach yourself how to get better and better at sales. And quite honestly, at the end of the day, sales is just relationships. I mean, everybody says that. It's so true that if you can just be a friend to a potential customer, help them find out what they're wanting to do and say, I can help you get there, you're going to succeed just by doing that kind of a sales method.
Love it. Love it. So good. So let's shift gears a little bit. And now you've got the 7-figure agency and you've landed clients and you've lost clients and you do great work, but sometimes the clients leave. Let's talk a little bit about retention. Like, what are some of the things you found have worked best to help you retain that client base and keep them with you long term?
Sure. I think hiring CSMs is something I should have done a long time ago. Having somebody that reaches out to them at least once a week and just touches them and lets them know we're still here. And that was the big problem with my legacy agency was I would get a client and I would go to work. I would go to town doing all this stuff, but I wouldn't let them know what I was doing. And 3-4 months into it, they're like, you know what? We don't even know where this money's going or if you're doing anything with it. So staying in front of them and letting them know little updates. We do not send out monthly reports. But we do have the CSMs reaching out to our clients and letting them know consistently about a win that they had. We just had a client yesterday that got the $1,000 promo code for us for pay-per-click because we're Google partners. So he didn't expect that. He didn't know anything about it, but we got him $1,000 in extra ads absolutely free. And those kinds of wins are going to just make him stick even longer with us.
I love it. So weekly touches with the clients, having CSMs, client success managers, people talking with the clients. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what your onboarding looks like? Any cool things you do on the onboarding side of the equation?
Sure. Onboarding process is they sign up and they pay. They do that right away. And we schedule a kickoff call within 2 business days. So we want to get that kickoff call going quickly. And that kickoff call is really just to review the onboarding form, to go through anything that they didn't already fill out, verify things, make sure we can log into their GMB, make sure we can get into their analytics, those sorts of things. And then right after that, we schedule the lead boomerang training, which is our version of Go High Level. So we schedule that training right away within another 2 days or so. We set up their call tracking and their forms on their old/current site so they can start to see those leads coming in quickly. And then we set up the pay-per-click kickoff call immediately right after that so that we can get their strategy, what products they want to promote the most, and get all that into place so that we can get their ads up. Usually within 2 weeks, their ads are up and running. And again, they've already had the training on Go High Level, so they know the leads are going to be coming in. And then as we turn on the pay-per-click and the leads start to come in, we can have a second training call. Now that there's leads in here, what do you do with them? Training them how to engage with those leads, answer the phone, all of those sorts of things. So pretty proactive right up front. We also follow the proven process from EOS, which is 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, and then quarterly business meetings with them. So the first 90 days of doing business with us, you're hearing from us probably weekly. Here's an update, here's something we're doing, or there's another training that we have, something like that. We do not hit them with any upsells or anything like that. We just really warm them up to the fact that we're going to do really good business for them, generate leads for them. And then as the 90-day cycle goes on, we've got that built into Go High Level as well, where it automatically reaches out to them, I think around 10 days before the end of the quarter, and says, hey, what are your upcoming holidays that you're closed? Let's get a strategy session put in place to make sure that we're doing whatever it is you want to do this next quarter. Are there any new specials? Are there any promotions you want to do? Anything like that. So that's kind of how we onboard people, really warm them up well, and then long term keep them on board with us.
I love that. I think lots of high touch, right, in that first week, in that first month, really communicating with them a lot, and then it sounds like engineering some quick wins, like not just going radio silent, but setting up the automation and showing them how to interact with the leads, setting up the pay-per-click campaign as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Radio silent is a great way to induce buyer's remorse really quickly into your clients.
Yeah, for sure. A couple people are asking, and if you don't feel comfortable sharing, that's fine. But what was the platform that you used to send the postcard if they get to the website?
Leadpost.com.
Okay.
And they do have an agency version, which is actually a little cheaper than what they have on their website. So reach out to them about that. But that's fantastic. It does the reverse engineering on the emails and the mailing addresses as well.
Super cool. So it's basically looking at the IP address of anyone that gets to your client's site, pulling in an email if they can find one, pulling them a mailing address. Do you wind up, how do you deal with a wrong address, postcard went out? What would you say the percentage of postcards that you're mailing, to not a real person?
Yeah, we don't know. Once they send out, we have no idea if it went to the right person or not.
There's enough that go to the right place that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I do want to say on the email side, we don't, when we reverse engineer that email address, we don't send them an email right away. We have a 10-minute wait in the workflow. That way it's a little less creepy. It's still creepy, just the fact that I went to a website and then I got an email from the website and I never engaged with it. But we find that putting that 10-minute buffer in there and then sending something that's very non-salesy, that's just typically from the owner. Thanks for visiting ABC Blinds. Here's a little bit about our business. If you want to set up an appointment, click here. And that's pretty much it.
Love it. We call that a blind opt-in, in our world. You should be running that for your agency, guys. If you don't have that running, somebody gets to your website, whether they opt in for your lead magnet or your guide or not, no reason you can't grab an email and say, hey, I saw you're on the website. Is there anything I can do to help? And then add them to your nurture sequence and let them opt out if they don't want to hear from you. We find we get deals in the long term through that blind opt-in. Works for your agency, also great for your clients.
Yes, and a great opportunity to offer something of value again, offer the book or something. Hey, saw you're on my website. Can I send you my book? Absolutely free. That works really well.
That's awesome. I love that. I think a couple things you've engineered into your service offering, I wonder if you bring it up in the sales process that make you a little bit distinctive, like that, hey, we're going to automatically blind opt-in prospects. We're going to send them a postcard. We're going to set this QR code up to bring them back into your world. Do you bring that up as part of your unique selling proposition?
Absolutely. The other thing that does is it sets us up to upsell some other things. So the email is included, but hey, you want the postcard? That's a little bit of an upsell. Yep. You want us to do monthly newsletter? We're pulling all these email addresses in. Do you want us to do that too? And that's another opportunity for upsell.
How big a part, since yours is it's a relatively high ticket, they're getting their windows done or their blinds. How big of a play is the marketing automation that you do with High Level when somebody submits a form? How does that play into your offering, and do you find that actually impacts more sales for the client?
Do you mean on the client's end?
On the client's end specifically.
Yeah, so it definitely sets us apart. First of all, there's not a lot of marketing people in our industry. So the fact that we can come to a company and say, we'll do the missed call text back. By the way, we've also got the calendar where they can set up appointments automatically. We can send review requests if you just move them over to that piece of the opportunity stage. It blows them away. And we've actually started offering the lead boomerang system as the SaaS component that we've talked about many times as well. And that has actually led to conversations with window treatment companies that say, well, what else do you do? Well, as a matter of fact, we can help you get people into the funnel in order to use the CRM piece of it. So it really works well as a way to a gateway drug, if you will, to get more clients.
I love it. I think your industry is great because there's not as many of these pre-built systems that they already use. Yeah. So it doesn't seem like you have quite as much friction where you can say, look, I can set up your calendar. I can set up your two-way text messaging. Do you find that your end client will actually have the app installed and respond to leads and stuff through the system?
Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely will. The other thing that we did was back to JVs. In my world, The idea is to get an appointment, and that appointment is to go to somebody's house and measure the windows, show them the fabric, those kinds of things. So it's an in-home appointment that our clients are after. In that world, they're measuring, they're doing things. There's software that they can plug in those measurements and order from the manufacturer. So they can create a quote right there in that person's living room and give them that quote. So we've partnered with those software providers. And now when somebody comes in as a lead into Go High Level, we actually dump that contact information into that other software system. So when they go to the home and they pull up Joe Smith, it's already there. All their information is already in that other software system, which is super cool. It's another sales point for us because, oh yeah, we integrate with that. And so it's a win for sure.
So they're glad they don't have to go re-enter it in the program. It's like it's already in their lead system, Lead Boomerang, your version, and then it's also in their design and quoting system.
Yep. And then on the other side of that, of course, those JVs are now promoting the SaaS version of our software because it integrates with their system already. So they're sending us leads from people that say, I really like your software and love the measuring piece of it, but boy, we need more leads. And they say, well, we've got the tool to help you get that.
So good. Love it. Lots of cool insights here on how you're structuring it. When you think about your service offering for your clients, what is it that tends to generate the best results? Is it the SEO? Is it the Facebook ads? Is it the paid search? Is it database reactivation, or is it a combination of them all?
So it's none of those. It is Google My Business. By far and away, 60 to 70% of our clients' leads come from GMB, by far. It's drastically different than all of the other things that we do. As an old school SEO guy, that hurts me.
GMB is still, Google Business Profile. You could call that SEO, right? You're SEOing their Google Map listing.
Yeah, definitely part of it, I guess. At least it's not pay-per-click as the winning one. That would really hurt an SEO guy. But GMB by far and away is the biggest thing that we can do. Building those citations, that starts in month one. And you asked about onboarding. That starts in week one for us behind the scenes. We start building citations and really start optimizing that profile because we know if we can start to get them into that three-pack of results, they're going to get phone calls quick.
Love it. Do most of your clients have a physical location, or are you kind of dealing with a home address and trying to finagle addresses?
Yeah, it's probably 50-50. Since we've raised our prices and gotten away from that little package, we're dealing less and less with the mom and pops. And I should say less and less as clients. So we're kind of taking the Hormozy approach there, where if somebody calls us and they can't afford the $1,500 a month, we're putting them into some sort of a course and training and things like that to really help them get to the point where they can afford us. They're gonna look at us as the subject matter experts that helped them get to that point. And hopefully at that point they call us or they just continue to succeed. We don't care either way. We still get the check mark in their brain that we were the one that got them there.
Love it. And I know in that industry specifically, there are pay-per-lead services that are pretty popular. Are you tapping into any of that for them and putting the Lead Boomerang on the back end? Or you just say, hey, those leads are terrible, we're going to get you direct leads? Like, I'm just curious how you position it in your space.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of clients that are using any of those services. Maybe Yelp would probably be the most obvious. We do have one called Houzz, Houzz. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of clients try that, and it didn't really work very well. If they want to try it, sure, we'll tag those leads as such, and go back and see, did that provide value to you? Did that turn into ROI? And in most cases, it doesn't. With Yelp, I don't know, it's 50-50. Yelp's its own animal, I think.
Depends upon the market, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool insights there. So we've talked about kind of what the program looks like, what the retention play looks like. We'd love to talk a little bit about the team. So now you've got a 7-figure agency. I know you've got family that has been integral to the growth of the business. What does the operations look like as you've scaled up?
Sure. So my ops manager, his name is Iro, and he has been with us for 4 or 5 years now. He's in the Philippines, but he does kind of the overseeing of all delivery related things, operations, obviously. My daughter Amber has been with us for a long time. She started right out of high school in my legacy agency, building websites. And we would pull up WordPress, and I'd say, okay, Amber, open up Word and click here, do this thing, and then copy that down in Word so you know how to do it next time. So she's really been a huge part of growing the agency. As time goes on, she's moved on to project management now. I've also brought on my son. He started as a CSM when I first realized I needed to start getting somebody talking out to these clients. He's since then moved into a sales role. So somebody opts in for our book now, he'll pick up the phone the next day and say, hey, we saw you ordered the book. We're going to get that in the mail to you. What other resources can we get to you? So that's the family side. And then I've got a huge team in the Philippines. I think it's probably around 17, 18 people at this point. So we've got an SEO team. We've got a pay-per-click team. We've got a content team. We've got a researcher or somebody who just does different random things for us. We've got a couple guys on the web dev team. And so it's a complete company, I guess, at this point. And that was something else that was really hard for me, back to mindset. Somebody asked me at one point, do you just want a hobby or do you want an actual agency? And that was something that I couldn't get over for a long time. I actually do want an agency, and I want to be able to employ people and be part of their success as well.
I love that. I think it's great that you've been able to bring the family on it. They've been, they've been great advocates in the organization, and you've helped develop them as human beings. Any tips on hiring that international team and managing it? Because I know a lot of agencies try it, and they struggle because they're not able to keep a pulse on what they're doing, and they feel like they're constantly firing the team and rebuilding. Any tips you can share on kind of managing that international staff?
Yeah, this will be a shout out to Lynn Askin. We set up EOS, and that has really helped change that system. So the SEO team, the pay-per-click team, the web dev team all have their own level 10 meetings. We've got a list of core values. When somebody comes on to our team, they know what those core values are before they sign up. And that helps us keep them longer. And at the same time, we're making sure on Slack and things like that we're doing shout outs to people. Hey, shout out to Amy for doing this thing, and here's the core value related to that. So we're keeping those things as part of the overall culture, and that has really helped us as well, keeping employees longer. And we pay them well too. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. We want to make sure that we're moving away from a part-time status. So we were hiring a lot of people part-time, and what we found is they probably had another job, and then we were the second job, and they didn't take it as seriously. So we've really moved towards only hiring full-time. This is your job, and of course, giving them a fair salary as well.
Love it. So full-time, fully dedicated to you. What's the recruitment pool for you? It sounds like you've built in the Philippines. Is there a job source site that you use that you're able to attract good talent out of?
Yeah, most of it is through onlinejobs.ph. Yep. We use your resources, Josh, to get those job listings. So we have a really nice job listing right from the start. And then we have a nice pool of people to go through, ask them some questions, get them on some sort of a Zoom interview, and obviously roll out the core values to them and make sure that they don't, or if they do disqualify themselves, that's fine as well.
Love it. So it sounds like a good hiring process, really vetting and making sure you've got the right person that meets the core values, then having good processes in place and systems to plug them in where they're not guessing, but they know their role, and then having EOS fully implemented where there's a meeting ritual where they've got a scorecard, they're getting their problem solved. They're also feeling like they're part of a team and not just on an island somewhere in the Philippines working in the middle of the night, slaving away.
Yeah, we've also utilized the Go High Level memberships area, or the courses, and we built out a course specifically for new hires to go through and introduce our business to them. Here's our audience. Here's who we're trying to serve. Here's the kind of people that they are. So they have an entire course that they go through now.
So good, man. So many right things you've put in place on the sales side, on the delivery side, on the team side. I know that you're building the CSM team. Where are you finding good candidates for that? Is that also in the Philippines, or are you going U.S. based for that?
No, they're actually from GoStaffy.
Okay.
Both of our CSMs are from GoStaffy from
Amazing.
John Hanau. They're both in the Philippines, and they are just fantastic. They do a great job. There is a lot of training involved in ramping them up so that they understand that there's an audience out there of window treatment company owners. You don't even think about that in your normal day. So ramping them up, but yeah, so they all speak English. And they speak Spanish, which has actually worked well for us. We've got a couple clients that are basically Spanish based, and getting those clients having that ability to speak to them in Spanish has really been a nice little bonus on getting them there.
So good. Love it. Love it. Man, Will, a lot of great insights here. If you got a question, if you happen to be listening live, now's the time because we're about to wrap up. So toss your questions in if you have them. Well, if you had one piece of wisdom for that agency owner that, is wherever they're at, maybe they're 10K or they're at 30K and they're trying to get to the next level, what would that be?
Probably two things. Actually, I'd probably say one is start to look at JVs, see who else is serving your audience, and then see how you can kind of wiggle your way into their being on their list or being in front of them at some time. And then secondly is just be consistent. Like I said, I had times where there was 6 months and no new clients. And I don't know how in the world my wife didn't come in and said, this is over, we're done.
Shut it down.
Yeah. But she never did. And being consistent, I think, has been a big piece of that. I think I was on your podcast probably not even maybe a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I was at 40K. And so just in that amount of time, we've doubled the revenue, and just being consistent and being, even when I talked to you at 40K, I was probably signing up a client every month or maybe even 2 months. Now, I think in October we signed up 4. So it's nice to have that momentum going, but it doesn't happen right out of the gate. It did happen out of the gate for me, and I thought this was going to be fantastic. But that was an anomaly that I soon realized.
Love it. So joint ventures, you're only one joint venture away from a 7-figure agency, and we found that time and time again. Look for those opportunities. Those opportunities only present themselves if you're putting out good content, if you're a person of interest, if you're a value-added individual. So you have to position yourself and then look for those joint venture opportunities and then stick to it, right? The only way you fail is if you quit. And Will, you've done a great job sticking to it, not just in terms of trying and not quitting, but you went in the window space, you didn't throw in the towel, you stuck with that niche, and you continued to really innovate in the space. And now our position is the go-to expert. So I think some amazing insights there. We do have a question from Facebook here, and they say, I noticed on your website you say marketing for 7-figure window treatment companies. Have you found that message helps you attract a higher quality prospect?
Yeah, not only that, but it kind of filters out the tire kickers. And those lower end people, they don't tend to reach out for a discovery call, but they find plenty of other resources on the website that can help them get to that point. That's, again, an EOS thing. So part of going through that original EOS setup was, who do we want to be our clients? Who are our best clients? And those are the ones doing over $1 million. And Josh, 5 years ago, I didn't think there were any window treatment companies doing $1 million bucks. I didn't even think that was a thing, but they're out there. So even in the niches that maybe you're looking at and you're like, man, I don't know if this niche will even work. Do some more research. It's very possible that there are a lot of 7-figure companies out there that are just flying under the radar, and they're looking for marketing most likely.
Yeah, I think it's a common trait with almost every person we've had on this podcast that has gone to 7 figures and beyond, is they shifted from thinking they were serving everybody in the niche to recognizing they're going after the higher end of the market. And like Will said, at one point, he didn't think there was a market above 7 figures in window treatment. As you get into the niche and you start to really understand the key players, you start to realize there's lots of people doing millions, and even 7 figures is not that big of a number. Right. And it's just recognizing the larger companies have financial resources. They've got infrastructure to handle the lead flow, and they can pay your fee easily, and they will pay your fee and stay into perpetuity if you can generate even just a solid result for them. And so I think that was a great question and a great kind of insight to wrap up. Regardless of where you are in your niche, recognize you're not wanting to serve everybody. If you're only serving the one-man operator, the startup, for me in plumbing, for Will in window treatments, you're going to have a really tough go at it, like really, really tough go at it. You're not going to get paid what you deserve. They're going to drive you nuts. And when we stop taking, people less than $500,000 per year in plumbing and HVAC SEO, everything changed. Our retention was better, our client satisfaction was better, and we could live much better lives as a result of that distinction.
Absolutely, it's a much easier. You sleep a lot better, right? Knowing that the clients, you're taking care of them and they're not hassling you every single day about some random little thing.
Yeah, good question there. Another question just came in. Let's see if I can get it to come up. Is it possible for an owner-operator to run ads without hiring an agency?
Sure. Everybody can run ads. What we tend to see is when we start getting into those conversations, they'll usually say, did you do paid ads? Oh yeah, we tried that. We put $1,000 in and it didn't work. So absolutely you can do it. And Google is just fantastic with their marketing of Google ads to get them to spend that money. But they tend not to see the results from it. And we just took over a client who's been running his own ads for about 2 years at $10,000 a month is what he's spending on ads. And just in the last month that we've started working with him, we've cut his cost per lead down almost by 50%. So just having an agency and having an agency that's niched, right, and knows the world, knows what negative keywords to dump in right away, that's a huge advantage for an owner operator, I think.
Great stuff. Good questions. Will, once again, congratulations on growing to 7 figures. You're an inspiration to the entire 7-figure community. Thank you for what you do as a mentor, supporting other members as they're kind of coming up the ranks. If an agency owner is listening to this and they'd like to connect with you somehow, what would be the best way?
Probably by email, will@wcrada.com. And everybody wonders what that is. That's actually Will, Carol, Ryan, Amber, Dylan, Austin. So it's my kids' first initials. I figured that was something that would definitely be unique when it came to setting up an LLC. So will@wcrada.com. Reach out. I'm always checking my email and would love to chat with you. Thank you again, Josh, for the opportunity to be a mentor too. I really enjoy being able to help agencies get to where I am now, and I understand the struggle side of it a lot. We weren't a hockey stick, or we weren't off to the races by any means. But I love the opportunity to help other people grow, and I have that unfortunately many years of experience that I can help them with.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time and your abundance mindset, sharing what's worked for you. Listeners, be sure to reach out to Will, congratulate him, thank him for sharing, and be sure to tune in. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can see other videos. If you're listening somewhere out in cyberspace, be sure to go to 7figureagency.com/podcast so that you can catch all of these interviews and the new content that we're rolling out. That's it for today. Thanks again, Will. Thanks everybody for being on here.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity.